week in our Read Alouds, we're going to be focusing on narrative nonfiction and specifically narrative memoir. As you know from our nonfiction studies, memoirs are not necessarily the entire person's life. They're about a person and real events in their lives, but not necessarily about the whole life. A biography is chronological order from birth until current or death, whichever has happened for that person. A memoir is just one part of a person's life or several parts of them, but not the whole story in a fact chronological order. So we're working with narrative memoirs, and those are memoirs that are told more in story format. So they feel more like a story, and you wonder, is this real or not? And that's why the author is usually going to include some sort of a note that lets you know it's authentic and about a real person and about real experiences they may have had. So this book this week is called The Boy in Number 4, and it's based on Bobby Orr. So I'm going to read you the author's note first, even though it's not actually the author's note. The note for this one is written by Bobby Orr, and it's written in what we call an afterword. It's kind of after the story. I'm going to read it before so that you have the background information. He says, when I was growing up, hockey was a very important part of my world. I guess I should stop and tell you he's a pretty famous hockey player. In fact, on your independent reading slide, I gave you a link to his website. If you want to learn more about him during independent reading time, you're welcome to do so. During the winter months, my friends and I would play anywhere we could find ice. On Georgian Bay or the Seguin River or at a schoolyard rink. He's referring to places in Canada. It really didn't matter where. As long as we could play hockey, we were happy. I'd leave in the morning with my hockey stick and skates slung over my shoulder, and often my parents would say no more than, "Be home by dark." Sometimes we kept score, sometimes we didn't, but mostly our games were about the sheer joy of play, of being able to go outside with your buddies and simply have a good time. In those days, we didn't wait for an adult to organize our social time or sports experiences. We took that upon ourselves. We were the ones who decided when to get together, which game to play, and who would be on whose team. I'm a firm believer in kids just getting out and playing any kind of sport. Being part of a team, official or otherwise, should not just be an experience for the elite player. It should be something every child has a chance to experience. The paintings in this book are based in large part on photos of me growing up playing hockey. I learned a lot during all those years, honing the techniques and skills that would allow me to play against grown men when I was still a young teen. But most importantly, I learned respect. Respect for the game itself and for everyone involved in it. My parents, who supported me throughout my childhood and career, my teammates and coaches, and members of the opposing teams as well. Today, thousands of kids growing up all around the world may be dreaming about making it to the NHL, and some may even succeed. But for everyone who loves hockey, young or old, player or spectator, I hope this book inspires you to simply pick up a stick, get together with some friends, and just have some fun playing the best game on earth. Nostalgia means reminiscing about old times or times in your past in a very pleasant way. It brings up, evokes good memories. And his nostalgic thinking here, the descriptions here kind of gave me some feelings of nostalgia because I grew up in a family where my aunt was married to a hockey player, and he built a rink in their backyard every year. And we taught his daughter, well, I can't say we because I'm not a very good ice skater. I end up on my tush more often than not. But we taught her how to skate on that rink by pushing a chair. And she grew up to be a hockey player and went on to college to play hockey. So this kind of reminds me of those times standing at the ice, right at the ice, like right at the glass on the ice to watch the games. I don't really like to watch it on TV. I prefer to watch it at the rink. There's just something about it, even though it can be kind of smelly if you go in the locker room, but there's just something about watching hockey live that's different. So here is the narrative memoir part of this book. What we read was the afterword, the words directly from the author. Now this is a story based upon it. The Boy in Number 4. In the ice rink locker room sat the boy in number 4, lacing up his skates like so many times before. He thought of all his practices, some early and some late. The drills that he would do to help him pass and shoot and skate. There were times when it was easy and others that were tough. But even when it seemed too hard, he would never give up. He'd sometimes get an injury, a broken bone or bruise. And though they did try hard to win, sometimes his team would lose. But the boy in number 4 had a passion and a dream to one day be a player on a big league hockey team. Passing, shooting, skating, his coaches led the way and taught him to respect both teams when it was time to play. For months and months he'd practiced. Now the game was due to start. He skated out before the crowd, excitement in his heart. The whistle blows, the puck is dropped, and off speeds number 4, passing, shooting, skating, like so many times before. He sweeps around behind the net, and up the ice he races. His skate blades flash from left to right, in front of cheering faces. Another player passes. Now the puck is number 4's. His eyes can see the net in front. He steadies, shoots, he scores. It's a goal for number 4, a game-winning goal for the amazing Bobby Orr. All right, just a story about learning to play hockey, and not every detail is included, not every event, there's really not dates involved in it, just a story format. So that's narrative memoir. There will be a question about this read aloud on your exit slip today after you do your reading of the Nostalgic Toys article, which is why I talked so much about nostalgia, so that you would be familiar with that terminology and that vocabulary when you read the article. When you do read the article, you can use the read aloud option, but I'll talk more about that in your mini lesson for the guided reading on that slide. So I hope you enjoyed that narrative memoir of Bobby Orr. And if you want to read more about him or learn more about him, check out the link on the last slide today on the independent reading section.